Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The graduation ceremony will begin shortly. For those wanting to take photographs when an officer receives their certificate, you're invited to come forward to this designated area on your far left. Please note that the officers will be called in alphabetical order, so please return to your seats after your officer has received their certificate, allowing others the same opportunity for photographs. Thank you. And again, we will begin at 1 o'clock sharp. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Robin McClarty. I'm a class coordinator and senior instructor of police for the 300 basic training class. I'd ask that you join me in welcoming today's graduates, the members of the 300 Basic Training class, as they join me here on stage. Members of the 300 Basic Training class, and ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing and direct your attention to the Reno County Sheriff's Office Honor Guard for the presentation of colors and our national anthem.
Raise it up! Right shoulder, right. Center, right. Forward, forward.
You may be seated. During your time at KLETC, you've all walked past the Wall of Honor many times. The Wall of Honor was designed as a remembrance of those KLETC graduates who've died in the line of duty. The names and photographs of the 28 individuals memorialized there help preserve their memories and give family, friends, law enforcement officers, an opportunity to remember those that made the ultimate sacrifice in service to the citizens of Kansas. This time, please join me in taking a moment of silence to observe and honor those 28 KLETC graduates, along with the most recent line of duty death in Kansas, Sedgwick County Deputy Sidney Carter. Moment of silence, please. Thank you. Members of the 300th Basic Training class, I want you to know and understand how much I truly appreciate each and every one of you and all of your efforts while you've been here at KLETC. Each of you have persevered and overcome many challenges while you've been here. Well done. I hope you each understand what an honor it has been for me to be one of your instructors, your class coordinator, and at times class dad. Hopefully throughout your time here, the other instructors and I have each been able to impart and pass on some insight and information, not only from the curriculum, but from our education, experiences, and our careers that will help each of you be successful in yours. In the beginning of your time here at KLETC, you likely arrived and were in some fashion at least a little bit out of your comfort zone, forced into a unique environment with unknown experiences and challenges that lie ahead for each of you. It's my hope that through those experiences and challenges, you've truly come to respect and even appreciate your time here at KLETC. The training and experience and the knowledge that you've gained while here is truly priceless and will in some form help each of you be successful in this profession. On behalf of the KLETC administration and everyone here at KLETC, congratulations on completing your basic training. I'm proud of you. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce to you the Executive Director of the Kansas Law Enforcement Training Center, Executive Director Darren Beck.
I always appreciate it when people clap before I speak because it's not so frequent after I speak. So this class is special. Every class is special, but this class is special numerically because it's our 300th basic training class. 300 classes have graduated from KLETC since it was created back in 1968. And I'd like to just reflect back a little bit to just put this in perspective, to talk about what law enforcement training has been like over those years. In 1916, there was an organization that was formed. It's called the Kansas Peace Officers Association. And that organization, while not formally a training organization, it was formed in order to spread knowledge and wisdom about law enforcement amongst one another. That organization, KPOA, Kansas Peace Officers Association, then in 1947, actually started training law enforcement officers. And back then, there wasn't training for law enforcement unless you just happened to be with a large agency that had its own training bureau. But basically, there was no training statewide in Kansas until 1947. And at that point, the University of Kansas started becoming involved, and they, through their Government Research Center, started assisting the Kansas Peace Officers Association in putting on that training. Then in 1968, the legislature created KLETC by statute. They recognized that there was a need to formalize training in the state. They hired Maynard Brazil. Some of you, those of you who were staying here probably wandered through Brazil Hall at some point. But they hired Maynard Brazil and 3 instructors to put on the training that was available at the time. That first class was held February 26th, 1968 to March 15th, 1968. So for the graduates, if you notice those dates, they're not very far apart. And that's because the original basic training class was 3 weeks long, 120 hours. And it was held at the Highway Patrol training facility because this facility didn't exist yet. In 1969, this location was established. It was established as a naval air station, and they trained pilots. And we moved here. It was gifted to the University of Kansas to be used for this purpose, for the training of law enforcement officers. It wasn't fully operational at that point. In fact, students had to stay in a hotel in Hutchinson, and I'm sure that probably wouldn't have been too objectionable to the class, but they had to stay in a hotel in Hutchinson as opposed to the dormitories at the time, and food had to be catered in. We didn't have an operational kitchen, but we did finish that class in this facility in 1969. So you look at those roots of where we started, and now, having graduated 300 classes, let's fast forward to the present and where we are and what's different. Basic training is now 560 hours. It's a 14-week class instead of a 3-week class. And there's constantly pressure to make that class even longer because there's so much more complexity in law enforcement just in recent years. And not only are we doing basic training now, we're also doing continuing education, professional development training to the amount of 15,000 enrollments in the past year in those professional programs. We're also working with our colleagues, our telecommunicator colleagues, to develop a telecommunicator basic training. And even our firefighter colleagues. We have an arson school starting here next week, and we'll have firefighters on campus. We're also working with the council, the accreditation council, to help facilitate law enforcement accreditation in the state of Kansas. So lots of great things happening, lots of things happening here at KLETC. And the future of KLETC, I hope you'll stop by the miniature in the lobby to see what we think the future of KLETC's campus will look like. The campus master plan is out there in the lobby. So when we were talking about this class, we knew that the 300th basic training class was going to be a special class. And so we wanted to make sure that we had a speaker that would be befitting of such a special class. And it's now my pleasure to introduce to you the Attorney General for the state of Kansas, Derek Schmidt. Derek Schmidt was elected the 44th Attorney General of Kansas in 2010, and he was reelected in 2014 and 2018. He's the state's second longest serving Attorney General, and in 2018 received more votes than any other candidate for Attorney General in the history of Kansas. Schmidt has been honored with the Criminal Justice Professional of the Year from the Wichita Crime Commission, the Friend of Law Enforcement Award from the Kansas Sheriff's Association, the Policymaker of the Year from the Kansas County and District Attorneys Association, and Guardian of Small Business Award from the Kansas chapter of the National Federation of Independent Businesses. He served as the 2017-2018 president of the National Association of Attorneys General and was named the nation's outstanding Attorney General for 2019. Before being elected Attorney General, Schmidt served as a Kansas State Senator representing part of Southeast Kansas as chairman of the Senate Agriculture Committee and the Senate Majority Leader, where he and my paths crossed the first time. He previously served as counsel to Kansas Governor Bill Graves and as legislative assistant to U.S. Senator Nancy Landon Kassebaum. Attorney General Schmidt is a graduate of Independence High School and studied at Independence Community College. He earned his bachelor's degree in journalism from the University of Kansas, his master's degree in international politics from the University of Leicester? Close enough. In the United Kingdom, his law degree from Georgetown University Law Center, and his doctorate in law from the University of Kansas School of Law. Schmidt and his wife Jennifer are the parents of 2 daughters. It's my pleasure now, my privilege, to introduce the Attorney General for the state of Kansas, Kansas's chief law enforcement official, Derek Schmidt.
Well, that's very nice. For the record, the word looks like Leicester, but it's pronounced Leicester. It's one of the reasons for the American Revolution, I suppose. We wanted to say things the way they sounded. Director, thank you, and thank you all for coming out to support your graduates, your friends, your colleagues, whatever the case may be. This is all about them, and that's what we're going to focus on. But let me just say, take a moment of personal privilege and thank you for the privilege of having served in this role for the last 12 years. This is my 3rd opportunity to visit with one of the basic graduating classes. It's special to be back for the 300th. I was not here at the first, just to be clear. And I will tell you only this. There's a lot of different things that your Attorney General is required and allowed to do. It's in the job description. It has a lot of breadth. But one of the most special is working with the men and women in law enforcement all over this state. And we have done our best on our watch to always have your backs. And I have every confidence that whoever Kansans hire next in this role will carry on and do even more of that. By the way, I make bold predictions, and I predict the next Attorney General will be Chris, because both candidates are named Chris. And beyond that, I make no predictions. It's up to voters to sort things out. But it has been very special. One of the things that has made it a particular privilege is getting to know so many law enforcement families around the state. It is a family, law enforcement, and it's also a family endeavor. I know I don't have to tell all of you that. You wouldn't be here if you didn't already know it. But that's perhaps not as readily obvious to our citizens who don't have the sort of day-to-day engagement with law enforcement families and professionals that I know all of you do, and certainly we've had the opportunity to. For our new graduates, I was thinking on the drive in about, I'm getting up there apparently in years, because I was remembering as a kid, before we had cell phones, before we had streaming services, before we had DVDs, before we even had CDs, when we had Saturday morning cartoons, if anybody remembers those. And it was a good incentive for the youngins to get up early on Saturday, but there used to be this probably was in the 70s, there used to be a little, I don't know if it was a PSA or if it was just a little cartoon, but it appeared on Saturday mornings. And it was a cartoon, but it had a child in distress. It was lost, I think. And the advice was always, if you have a problem, you're lost, you don't know what to do, go find a police officer. And I had this little kid who went and found a police officer who held their hand and found mom and dad for him, and everything was fine after that. And I've thought about that from time to time over the years, was thinking about it today. I mean, really, in many ways, though, things are so much more complicated and the hours are longer and the instruction's so much more intense and the pressure is so much greater. That's what law enforcement ultimately is all about. It's about being that person in the community, whatever the community may be of your service, where when folks are in need, whether it's because there's somebody pounding on the door at 2 a.m. or whether it's because somebody's been hurt or harmed, or whether it's because somebody is lost, or whether it's because somebody needs guidance, you know that the uniform that you're wearing means they know they can and should be able to trust you and come for trusted counsel and advice. It's sort of its own little 911 for circumstances that go so much beyond just the public safety issues. And I say that because I think sometimes we may have not lost sight of that, but lost it in the noise of so much of the broader public discussion. You all have chosen a profession, and you know this. Some of you have been in or around the profession for some time. Some of you are brand new to it. But you've chosen a profession that is under tremendous scrutiny now. And fairly or unfairly, it's a profession that gets you in the headlines. It's a profession that gets you talked about, whether people know you or not, at the coffee shops or wherever people gather. It's a profession where everybody thinks they know better than you do how you're supposed to do your job and what the job is all about. But you've chosen it freely, and you've chosen it knowing how hard it is, because you have a heart for service and you want to be that modern version of that officer in the 1970s cartoon who is the community service person who folks go to in a time of tremendous need. And you know the hard stuff that comes. You know you will be in situations you have to make split-second decisions that may get recounted and redressed and second-guessed for months or years to come by people who weren't there, who are doing their jobs. And you know that you've chosen a profession that can be dangerous, and you know that you've chosen a profession that will be criticized, but you did it anyway, and I admire that. And believe me, I can tell you this, I have spent a lot of time in the years I've had the privilege of serving in my public roles. I spent a lot of time visiting with Kansans all over this state, big cities, little cities, all over. And trust me when I tell you, Kansans know that too. They know that our officers in this state make the choice to go into this profession because they love their communities and because they want to serve and because they want to do good and because they want to help. So I haven't had the privilege of meeting every one of our graduates today, but I know them all, as do all of you, because we know them by their choices. And their decision to enter this profession, this line of work, to serve despite the perils and to serve despite the criticisms, it's admirable. And it's what it takes in order for our communities to continue to function and function well, day in and day out, for the folks who are in them today and for the folks who are coming in the next generation. So I just want to say to our class today, we are, as the director said, proud of you, but more than that, I hope you're proud of each other, and I hope that you are proud of the many professionals, maybe about 8,000 current officers, full and part-time now in Kansas. Not that many in a population of 3 million. I hope you're proud of the law enforcement family that you are formally joining once you are commissioned. And I hope you will remember this day when you reached your graduation from the academy in a place called Integrity Auditorium for a reason. And Godspeed as you serve your communities in whatever may come and whatever you're called on. We're proud of you. We're with you. We're behind you. Serve well.
So I suspect you have more than one of these on your shelf.
Very
But
nice.
This is to commemorate that you were the commencement speaker for the 300th basic training class.
Well, how very nice. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
And I'll keep it right over here for you.
General, thank you for your remarks. Thank you very much for your remarks. At KLETC, we recognize those student officers who have excelled in various professional skill sets during their basic training. For the 300th, we'll start with fitness. Fitness being a key component in an officer's life. It helps them deal with the daily stresses they'll face. It aids them in supporting a healthier lifestyle and enables them to better mitigate the dangers that they may encounter. During their time here at KLETC, all the student officers of the 300 remained active and engaged in fitness. However, for a student officer to be recognized for receiving a fitness award, the student officer must have successfully completed the following: successful completion of all academic performance and skills testing, along with completing 30 push-ups in a minute, 30 sit-ups in a minute, and running 1.5 miles in 18 minutes or less during the final physical assessment. They must have logged 200 miles or more of running and or walking, or 800 miles of bike riding outside of their normal required physical activities. With one of the highest percentages of student officers to successfully complete the fitness challenge in quite some time, I am pleased to announce the following student officers who have met these goals. Officer Zachary Bowker of the Kansas Department of Wildlife and Parks. Officer Hunter Crouch of the Andover Police Department. Deputy Alex Ledesma of the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office. Officer Mark Rainey of the Parsons Police Department. Officer Lane Watkins of the Kansas Department of Wildlife and Parks. Officer John Wojcik of the Oakley Police Department, and Special Agent Nicholas Yeager of the Kansas Department of Corrections. Well done to all of you students. For his efforts during the fitness challenge, we're going to next recognize Deputy Alex Ledesma from the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office. Please join me at the podium. During the fitness award challenge, Alex not only exceeded the requirements, he logged the most miles for that challenge. For his efforts, he is being awarded the Fitness Medal. Please join me in recognizing him for his efforts. Next, I'd ask Officer John Wojcik of the Oakley Police Department to please join me at the podium. Officer Wojcik is also receiving a fitness medal for most improvement, stemming from his record-breaking 1.5-mile time of 8 minutes and 9 seconds. The 2005 record of 8 minutes and 24 seconds stood until September 2020, when a student ran an 8:23. In October of 21, it was again broken with a time of 8:16. Now John holds the record with an outstanding time of 8 minutes and 9 seconds, equating to a mile pace of 5 minutes and 26 seconds to run a mile. Please join me in recognizing Officer Wojcik for his efforts. John, well done. I'd ask you to join me one more time in congratulating these officers for maintaining a healthy lifestyle and learning to develop that habit. It'll save their life maybe someday. KLETC also recognizes student officers who have excelled in academics during their time here at KLETC. Student officers who have achieved the following criteria will be graduating with academic honors. This requirement includes a 90% or greater overall GPA, a 90% or greater written final exam, 90% or greater overall performance GPA, 90% or greater overall performance final testing score, and must have completed a minimum of 100 miles logged, walking and or running, or 400 miles of biking, and must have successfully completed all their skills testing and have received no disciplinary action. The officers who have achieved these goals are Officer Alex Baker of the Hayes Police Department, Officer Lane Watkins of the Kansas Department of Wildlife and Parks, and Special Agent Nicholas Yeager of the Kansas Department of Corrections. Well done, gentlemen. Well done. Additionally, in academics, for a student officer to be recognized for achieving the Director's Academic Award, the student officer must have attained a 94% pre-final written test GPA, a 94% or greater score on the final written exam, successful completion of all performance final testing, successful completion of all performance and skills testing, and have had no disciplinary actions. Today, we've actually had 2 officers who met those goals out of the 300. Officer James Nelson from the Wellsville Police Department and Officer Lane Watkins of the Kansas Department of Wildlife and Parks. The student officer with the highest GPA, I'll mention it's less than 0.5% between these two, will be recognized as the recipient of the Director's Academic Award. That officer is Officer Lane Watkins of the Kansas Department of Wildlife and Parks. You're being presented this plaque, which recognizes you for achieving academic excellence. I ask you to please display it proudly and recognize your goals. Please help me in recognizing him for his efforts. It's now time for the class president for the 300 basic training class to deliver a few brief remarks on behalf of the graduating class. Ladies and gentlemen, the class president for the 300 basic training class is Special Agent Nicholas Yeager, Kansas Department of Corrections.
Well, here we go. Good afternoon. I'd like to recognize Attorney General Schmidt, Executive Director Beck, the staff and faculty at the Kansas Law Enforcement Training Center, our family and friends, and the law enforcement officers in attendance with us. Thank you for being here today. I'm honored to be standing before you to provide a few words on behalf of the graduating class. I was selected by my peers to be the class president and represent the 300 basic training class. I've taken this appointment seriously, and I plan to deliver a speech honoring my classmates and their families. But I'd like to start by telling you a little about my class. There are 20 members of Class 300 up on stage today, representing 19 different agencies. Our ages range from 60 to 21 years old. We come from different backgrounds and all have different life experiences that we brought to the group. Reflecting on our time here at the Academy, I'm reminded of how we were all individuals sitting in the classroom that morning of July 18th. Over the past 14 weeks, Class 300 was challenged to start working as a team and stop working as an individual. I tried to pinpoint when it occurred, and I believe the transformation from individual to team started taking place around week 5, when we were divided into small teams and tasked with investigating different crime scenarios. That team bond has continued to strengthen as we progress through our training, learning that working as a team is far more effective than working as an individual. During our first days at the Academy, we were told the 300th class would be a milestone class. We were the first class in the training calendar, and because of that, it was a perfect time to make substantial changes. Some of those changes include being the first class issued student uniforms, as well as a standard physical training uniform that we, in every future class, will be expected to wear. We were instructed in the latest training curriculum and practical application that will soon become the standard basic training for all Kansas law enforcement officers. Additionally, our student graduation awards program was changed to reflect our milestone class and a new era for the Academy. Now, I'd like to address our friends and family. While being at the Academy, we were asked to identify our reason why for being here. That question was asked multiple times by various instructors. And for myself and my classmates, once we identified that why, it hasn't changed. I asked my classmates to share with me what their why is. And the answers range from protecting people to serving our communities in the best capacity we know how. But ultimately, our why is answering our nation's call for intelligent, well-trained law enforcement officers. Now, one of the earliest homework assignments I recall getting here was developing a resiliency plan. The purpose of this plan was to identify what we need to have in place in our personal life to help us deal with the pressures and stress of the job. Again, I reached out to my classmates and I discovered there wasn't one plan that didn't involve the support of our loved ones. You see, the communities we've sworn to protect will lean on our shoulders for support and look to us for answers during the tough times. But who are we supposed to lean on? We need you to be those shoulders we lean on. We need you to be our safe place, somewhere we can let our guard down and not feel the need to have our head on a swivel constantly scanning for potential threats. So, from Class 300 to all of you, thank you. Thank you for standing by our side and supporting us on this journey, because in reality, it's your journey too. Finally, I have a few words for my classmates. We made it, 300. Look at us up here. We look good. Enjoy yourself today. We've accomplished this challenge, but continue to challenge yourself. Continue to learn and hone your skills. And remember, for some of us, week 15, day 1 starts as early as tomorrow. It has been my honor to be your president, and I consider you all my brothers and sisters in blue. Thank you.
Nicholas, it's my pleasure on behalf of KLETC administration to present you with this plaque, noting that you were the class president and leader for the 300 basic training class. I ask that you display it proudly. Congratulations for your effort.
Thank you.
Please join me in one more recognition of the class president. In law enforcement, ethics is at the forefront of training and our profession. The law enforcement oath of office affirmation is a constant reminder of the importance of always doing the right thing. This is something that we've discussed in depth during your time here at KLETC. The ultimate purpose of law enforcement is public service. A law enforcement officer assumes great responsibility when they affirm the oath of office. They have entered the position of being a role model, leading by example. They're enforcers of the law and protectors of our communities. Because the Kansas Law Enforcement Training Center believes in the concepts and the principles within the oath should be a dominating force in all officers' lives, I'll ask the class president, Special Agent Yeager, to lead the class with the Law Enforcement Oath of Office affirmation. Three 300 basic training class, please be seated. In just a few moments, I'll be presenting each of you with a challenge coin. See, challenge coins are very symbolic and meaningful. Challenge coins are given to someone as a reminder of them or to confirm membership in an organization or as part of a group. The coin you'll receive today recognizes you as a graduate of the Kansas Law Enforcement Training Center. I ask that you'll carry it with you as a reminder of the lessons you've learned and the friendships forged during your time here at KLETC. On the back of this coin is the oath that each of you just affirmed moments ago. Carry it with you. Let it be a constant reminder for each of you to always, always do the right thing. Congratulations, graduates. It's been my honor and my pleasure to be a small part of your journey. I wish you nothing but success and your continued safety each and every day. I'll now ask KLETC Associate Director Alvin Sowers to join me on the stage to present the members of the 300 basic training class with their certificates. Will I present each of you with the challenge coin? Your class president will announce the names of the graduates of the 300 basic training class.
Front row, please stand. Alex Baker, Hayes Police Department. Deanna Jo Valencia, McPherson Police Department. Wyatt Blasey, Newton Police Department. I'll skip one. Mackenzie Balthazar, Wichita State University Police Department. Zachary Bowker, Kansas Department of Wildlife and Parks. Jerry Cameron, Osborne Police Department. Front row, please return to your seats. Please be seated. Second row, please stand. Cody Collins, Thomas County Sheriff's Office. Hunter Crouch, Andover Police Department. Angela Enriquez, Barton County Sheriff's Office. Tyrone Grant Wooden, Humboldt Police Department.